art friends, today we are going to draw back to school.
Yeah, we're going to draw the words back to school in block letters, but we're going to show you a secret in this lesson. We're going to show you how to center the words on the paper. Okay, let's show our art friends. Doesn't this look really cool?
Yes.
I hope our art friends are really excited. They're going to follow along with us. You need all of your art supplies, so gather it up. You can pause the video if you need to. We're using markers to color with, but at the very beginning, we're going to first start with our pencil. And we're also using marker paper because we're using markers to color with. But again, you can use whatever you have at home or in the classroom. So let's clear everything off and we'll get started.
Let's do it.
We're starting with our pencil. This is to draw all of the guidelines or the words first. And we're just going to draw them or write them normal. So let's first start with the word to, and this is the secret to getting back to school kind of centered in the middle of our paper. Sometimes when we're writing and we're doing art, it's really hard because we'll start over here and we'll have all the letters clumped over to one side. So this is the secret. We're going to start with the center of our words, which is the letter to, or the word to. So we're going to draw or write the first letter T, and it's in the center, but a little bit to the left, so that we have room for the O right next to it. This is really weird. This is a weird way to write words, but it's going to work, I promise. So there's the center of back to school. Now let's start with the word above it, which is back, and we're going to start in the middle of the word, and there's two letters that are going to go right on top of the letter T and the letter O. The first letter is A. I'm going to write it right here. So we're going to draw right above that letter T. Then we're going to write the letter C right above the letter O. And I'm also going to try to draw or write this letter C almost like we're drawing a complete oval so that the two sides on the end almost come close together to touch. Yeah. Okay, now let's finish the word with the letter K on the right and the letter B on the left. Isn't that cool? It's a pretty neat secret on how to get your words balanced and equal on the page or in the center. Yeah. And the cool thing about using your pencil too is that if your word is a little bit off to the left, if you wanted to, you could adjust it and erase some of the letters and redraw them. So like your K is a little close to your C, you could space it out if you want, but I think you should leave it just like that. Let's keep going. Now we're ready to write the word school, and we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to write H and O right below the letter T and O. So let's start with the H. We're going to do it right here. I'm going to draw it. Ooh, and we can also draw it a little taller too if we want, since the word school is kind of the main word. And I'm going to draw the O right under the other O. And also don't worry if our guidelines are a little messy or mine are kind of wobbly. So it's okay if these letters and words are just a little bit off or wiggly because these are just guidelines. We're going to erase them at the end. I think I'm going to move my O and all of these letters a little bit more to the left so that I have more room over here. I'm not getting too close to the paper, and maybe you could do the same too if you want. Now there's a little extra space on the side of our paper. Let's finish the word school by adding the letter C next to the H, and we're going to do the same thing almost like we're drawing a complete oval, but we're going to leave that little space to make it a C. Yeah, and then what's the last letter, or the first letter? Yeah, we're doing it completely backwards. We're going to draw the letter S for the first letter in school. And that's the secret to balancing back to school on the center of our paper and trying to get it equal on both sides. It's kind of fun to write it differently, huh? Now we're ready to switch to our marker, and we're going to change all of our letters into bubble or block letters. And what's the difference between bubble and block letters?
More square.
Yeah, they'll have sharp corners, and bubble letters would make it look like it's made out of bubbles, and everything's round. So what kind of letters do you want to make? Block. Let's do it. Okay, we're going to start here, and I'm going to start by drawing the outside of the letter B, and then we're going to trace around the pencil line on this side. So I'm a little further out on the left, and then tracing around on the right. And then we want to make sure that we draw the inside of the block letter. We're going to draw two small letter Ds to finish the letter B. Awesome. Okay, now let's switch to the letter A. we're going to draw up here. Let's first start up here. To turn it into a block letter, we're going to draw a short line at the very top. Then we're going to draw a diagonal line that matches on both sides coming down. And then we can draw two short lines at the very bottom of our letter A. Then let's connect the inside of those two short lines. And then to finish the letter A, we're going to draw a small triangle shape inside. Next, let's move on to the letter C, and we're going to draw two short lines right here. Then let's draw the outside of the letter C. We're going to trace around. If we connect to the letter A, that's okay. That looks kind of cool too. And then let's trace around the inside and connect to the other short line. Cool. Now let's switch to the letter K. And to turn this into a block letter, we're going to draw a short line at the top and also the bottom. Then we can also add a short line on each diagonal line. And then we're going to connect all these together. So let's first start on the left side. Then we're going to draw almost like a letter V that comes down and then connects up. And then a sideways letter V to connect these two short lines. And an upside down letter V to connect the bottom. Now we finished back. Now let's draw the word to. So first let's draw those two short lines on the top and also one on the bottom. And then we can connect the top. And then we can also connect the side down to the bottom and the other side down to the bottom. Letter O's are really fun to turn into block letters. We're going to trace around the outside first. And to finish the letter O, we need to draw the inside. You could draw a small letter O or a big letter O. I'm going to actually draw kind of a small one. We got two of the words done. Now let's finish the last word, school. And we can start with the letter S. I'm going to draw two short lines at each end. And then we can start at the top if you want, trace around, and then connect to the bottom short line. And then we'll do the same thing for the other side. When you're making the letter S, you want to try to make sure that the one side is the same distance away from the other side. Okay, now let's move on to the letter C. We're going to just repeat the same thing we did over here. Draw those two short lines. And then we're going to draw the outside, tracing around and connecting. And then the inside doing the same thing. Now let's do the letter H. This one's a lot of fun. We're going to add a bunch of short lines, two on top and two on the bottom. And we are going kind of fast. If we're going too fast for our friends, what can they do?
Pause the video.
Yeah, if you need extra time. We're going to connect the top down to the bottom on the left and the right. And then we can also connect the inside. And also the inside on the bottom. H's are fun to turn into block letters. Okay, now let's do the same thing for our O's. We have two, and we're going to try to make them look the same as the one in the word to. I'm going to try to make it the same size, and then also the center of the O, I'm going to try to match that same size also. Another thing I like doing with words that have two O's next to each other, like cartoon, I like turning these two O's into eyes, because they look like eyes.
You do.
Okay, now let's finish the last letter. We're going to draw a short line at the top and also at the bottom. We can connect the side down to the bottom and the other side to the bottom. We finished drawing all of the block letters for all of our words. Now let's switch to our eraser, and we're going to erase all of the pencil lines, the guidelines that we can still see. This part will speed up, so remember to pause the video and take time to erase these lines also. Now we can add even more things to our drawing. Let's add pencils. I'm going to draw a pencil right here. I'm going to draw two lines that are parallel and diagonal. And then we can connect the top with a straight line, and then a letter V down here. And then let's draw an eraser on top. I'm going to draw kind of an upside down U shape. Ooh, we could add an extra line there for the metal piece. and then the wood piece, and color the little tip. On this side, we could add a marker. I'm going to draw the same thing, 2 diagonal lines next to each other. And then we could draw an upside down U to connect the top. Maybe this is the cap for a pen or marker. We can even draw a little thing. What's that thing called? I don't know. A little hook thing to put it in your pocket. Okay, and then we could draw, I'm going to draw an end down here. Oh, and then maybe a little tip for drawing. Oh, and also maybe a line right there. We could add a lot more decorations to our drawing. We could add lots of school supplies, but let's move on to the next step. And what is that?
Color it.
Yes, we need to color our drawings, and maybe while we're coloring, we could add a few more surprises. This part will fast forward, so remember to pause the video and take time to color your drawings. You ready to speed things up?
Yes.
Teryn, I love how your drawing looks all colored in, and I especially love the extra little things that you added for the decorations.
I like yours too.
Ah, thanks. And I also like that we added stars, and you could add even other things to your drawing. Oh, I also added 3D stuff. I made it look like the back to school words are popping out of the paper, but you can leave that off to keep the lesson a little easier too.
You could also add people.
Oh yeah, you could add yourself or maybe even your teacher. We used our markers to color with, our Art for Kids Hub markers, but also remember you can use whatever you have at home or in the classroom. You could use colored pencils, crayons, or even paint. But my favorite thing about this lesson is that we use the secret to balance the words back to school in the center of our paper by first using our pencil and starting with the word to, and then also balancing the word above it and below it.
We hope you had a lot of fun drawing back to school.
We do. We hope you had a lot of fun, and we'll see you later, art friends.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.